Hello, it is Camille. I'm back with another Astro-Bash speaker interview. Today we are here with Thea Wirsching. Thea, thank you so much for joining us today. Um, Give us a brief little introduction, and if you want to, you can throw your sun, moon, and rising in there.
Sure. Great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. So I'm a Virgo sun and I'm a Capricorn moon, so super earthy,
Earthy, yeah.
Gemini rising, but I have a huge chunk of stuff in Libra. I have a 4-planet Libra stellium, so it kind of skews airy, I guess, in
Yeah.
my chart. So a little bit about me. I practice astrology as the Pluto Babe, which is actually a nickname I picked up in the Stephen Forrest apprenticeship program
Mm,
because of the nature of the stuff I was always talking about. And another astrologer was like, "You're just a Pluto Babe. Like, this is who you are."
I
And it
love
made me
that.
feel so much better.
Yeah.
That tends to be the type of clientele I attract, people who have gone through just really difficult or traumatic, challenging things, and they worry they caused it.
Mhm.
And because I practice evolutionary, I'm able to say, all right, let's look at the deeper roots and the past life influences. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little bit about me. Do you want some more? Or?
No, that was perfect. I was
Okay.
actually going to ask you next, what do you think evolutionary astrology specifically brings to those conversations that you're able to have with your clients that maybe other kinds of astrology perhaps miss?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I think that I was drawn to astrology as a coping mechanism because I had
Hmm.
a lot of family problems and I had a lot of mental health struggles. And I think in a psychotherapeutic model, essentially what you're stuck with is mom and dad, right? You're gonna gotta
Yeah.
blame everything on mom and dad. And so I really liked that the evolutionary model got me out of that trap. And I was able to say, well, I bring certain things to this lifetime, right? I have my
Mhm.
own karma and my own journey. And that just gave me a lot more agency so that
Yes.
I didn't have to be a victim. And so I really love offering my clients that. And I find that when people have a really stuck situation or something that they can't get around, to know that there might be a karmic drag there, right? Like there's something they're
Yes.
pulling in and it's not all their fault. And it makes sense that they're struggling with that. And then to really show the path of how they're going to release that, right? Like how to ultimately get beyond that, and use it as compost, as my teacher Stephen Forrest says. So
I love that.
yeah, I really think astrology is for healing. That's how I use it. I know a lot of people use it for entertainment or for predictions,
Yeah.
and I just love the heart work that it offers. So
Yeah, I like the idea of like you being Pluto babe and like compost is like taking dead things, right? And then growing something wonderful from that. I also really like what you said about like it gives you some sense of agency so that you're not always like externalizing the why of like things you've been through and you can like take your power back, which is also so Plutonian. I really like that.
I I love that, and I was laughing just because it was such a long journey for me to not
Mm,
externalize and go,
yeah.
maybe I'm really intense. Maybe I'm alive, and just kind of owning that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, give us a little bit of a sneak peek about what you're going to be talking about at Astro-Bash.
Sure, it's such a fun topic. For several years, I lived in Eugene, Oregon, and I got to be pretty friendly with Demetra George, and I had already loved her work before we even moved there. So I just started asking people about the asteroids, and I
Mm,
asked other astrologers, like, do you use these things? And most didn't. So I kind of felt like, well, how do I take Demetra's work and just really put it into practice? And so that was a very, I guess it was a journey of discovery.
yeah.
And so I started with the idea that Ceres has most of the gravitational pull in the asteroid belt, right? So maybe
Mhm.
kind of like the lead energy. It was the first asteroid that was discovered.
Mm,
And so I know we associate themes about women with this planet, but my thought was if it's going to be relevant to everybody, like what is it about that
yeah.
applies to all humans? And so I just started asking people about their food life, and it yielded so much rich information. I mean, I'm just still kind of reeling from all the stuff that came up. And I think about how in the wheel of signs, Virgo is the only image that, I mean, it's actually an image of Ceres Demeter, right? But it's a woman holding a plant. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the connecting work, right? So I think Ceres is the natural ruler of Virgo. And I think we are in relationship to the natural world, right? To plants. And so food is my access point there. Like, how are people relating to food? And it kind of opens up a lot of other information about their self-care and yeah. So
Wow, that's interesting. I've never heard it from that vantage before. And as a like a Taurus moon, where food is like a very loud topic in my life, I'm so
yeah,
interested in seeing how like those things can connect to like self-care. That's so fascinating.
it's been really fun. And so I do a specific series reading
Oh,
for
sweet.
interested folks. And so we look at the client's relationship to food and also how that links back to their relationship with mom.
Ooh.
Um, so yeah, it's just yielded a lot of interesting stuff. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about at Astro-Bash yet, but it will involve those topics in some way.
Well,
So
that's really, really juicy. I may be coming by for a reading. Sounds so fascinating. Well, in the boom of astrology and how popular it is now on the internet, I'm curious if there's any astrological misconception out there that like haunt you the most that you want to like go on record to talk about or correct.
yeah, I think it's a really modern phenomenon to look at the full moon as like a magic pixie dust portal. Wow, you know,
Yeah, interesting.
so in the medieval era, and I'm sure before that, you know, people had a very healthy fear of the
Mm,
full moon, and you can think about tarot where the moon is a pretty negative card.
yeah,
And so I guess, you know, it's a new age trend that sort of gets on my nerves because
interesting.
um, you know, the full moons are full moons, but they're not all alike, as we know. And so
Yeah.
some open up really cosmic, wonderful experiences, and others are conjunct Saturn.
Yeah,
Um,
like tomorrow's or today's. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, you know, they're not all the same, and they're not all
Sure.
cosmic portals. I guess that would be, yeah,
Wow,
my
that's a new one. I haven't heard anything like along that line of thinking, like the full moon is more than what we think it is. And yeah, I would agree that it's totally like a over celebrated thing as like positivity, but the
yeah.
flavors certainly change month to month. That's so great. Well, let people know where they can find you, where they can learn a little bit more about you. And aside from Astrobash, maybe anything that you have coming up that you're interested in sharing.
Sure. Okay. So I'm pretty easy to find. You can find me on my website, theplutobabe.com, and I'm also the Pluto Babe on Instagram. So the Pluto and Babe are separated by those little underscore marks.
Got it.
And I'm teaching a year-long astrology intensive at the Philosophical Research Society here in Los Angeles, but it's
Wow.
remote, so you can attend from anywhere. And I'm doing a houses intensive starting in October, which I'm really excited about. So
Ooh, that is really exciting. Yay. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today. And I look forward to hearing your talk. I think it's in a month now at Astro-Bash.
yeah.
For those of you who are watching, you can join us, of course, in person. And go to www.astro-bash.com to register for that. But also, the second best way to experience it is virtually by live streaming. So we've opened up that option and you can check that out at that website too. And I hope to see you guys there. And I will see you there, Thea. Thank you.
I can't wait to meet you. Thank you for that.
Yay.
That's great. Okay.
Of course. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.